Good morning. Okay. Craziness continues. The inflation, no worries. Transitory. Remember that statement? That's why we don't get our advice from the government. All right. That was the whip back and forth. And 373. So at least, it is holding this pivot. So you got to give it that, but gapping below this green bar, this was yesterday. Again, 2020 hindsight was just, a gap down towards support after, the fourth day down, and buyers step up and they held it throughout the day. If you looked at the internals intraday, they weren't that strong, but look, it was an up day. And, the trend continues to be down, small trading range here. And, again, gapping below the green bar, but still at this pivot. And I think, look, whether it's 5, 10, 20 minutes, whatever, if it doesn't rally back up into this bar, it'll be a sell, down to wherever, down below here, I would assume. I don't know if it can get that far today. That's quite a distance, but it's starting the day, as you can see down here at this pivot. The rally yesterday was within this downtrend on the hourly. We got the sell set up, news coming out in the morning. It could have gapped up and could have been going up here. So pretty, a tricky situation anytime you have news that's going to be coming out. All right. So where do we go from here, right? Well, I guess we see, after a certain amount of time, I'm not sure, gapping down here like this, such a big gap. I don't think shorting a 5-minute low is going to make sense, but you just never know. Of course, we look at the overnight data, but we'll look at the futures. Let's see, get a better clue, because we got a bad tick over here. I have a bad tick over there with this spike up in the spiders. So you hear the futures give us a better insight. And yesterday, just the whip up and down, and prices so far are holding this pivot. And you've heard me say it once, you've heard me say it thousands of times, look to the left. And fib lines, trend lines, that lines. And there's nothing more simple than, hey, there was buying there before. And there were 3 days of buying there, which makes it a pretty key level. And even if it breaks, greater than 100% retracement, it takes out the low, which makes total sense for it to do that before it begins to stabilize. So, well, tricky, as far as it coming down here and then taking out that low. But look, this is why we look at the smaller time frames. We see how it, it's trading. And again, the news on the whipsaw, which is going to make, up here, which you can see. Do this here. I'm going to make that a level that if it's all that bearish today, the view, it won't get above that. So you can see that's the those overlapping bars there on the hourly time frame. What is this on 2 minute, 15 minute? Just, whipsaw. That's just craziness. So you got to let it settle down, see which way things are going to go here. Okay. So weekly chart, we got one more day left. I don't think the cavalry's coming to save this. And we'll see where this is tomorrow. Right? Whether it's way down here. And again, the trend is down in multiple time frames. I'm just going to drag this down, assuming we get a weak, weakness continues into tomorrow. Let's release signal here. Yeah. I've been saying this for a while as a target area. I would just love to see next week just collapse down into there, because I think that would be at least a short-term destination to um, an intermediate term bottom. And that would get our internals really, really cooked, which, over here, we saw all this call buying that got up to an extreme near that high. And what we'll want to see today is obviously a lot of put buying. Now, during this move down, there really wasn't that much. So these institutions are still chomping at the bit, you know, looking for this market bottom, and they're getting pounded. It's just day to day, you know, one day wonders, if you want to call it that. So, all right. So SPX. And maybe SPY might have some premium today. We'll take a look at that in the green room later. Jacob's giving me 3650, which I didn't write it down. 3600 is huge as far as a support area. There's not much there, Jacob. I mean, there might be. I mean, I would say absolutely yes, assuming the market does sell off in the first 15 minutes or so, and that could juice up, 30s. 3670 is $1, which, $1.15. And is that far enough away? 3670, I would think so, but 3660, we look and see what happens as the market opens, whether things continue to move lower. And because 3650 is only 35 cents by 40 cents, 3660, 55 by 75. So, but I would say down here in this area, it should be safe. Just looking at the distance it would take to travel down there isn't much to stop it from going down there. So, I mean, once it clears, say 37, 40-ish or so, we've got an unfilled gap down here at 3690 and change. Right? And then going down here, got this support area. And you can see this top. And duplicate that. All right, so 30, let's call it 3750. Breaking below, which is those lows right there. And nothing to really stop it. So it's got room to drop. So we just want to stay very far away. And would you say 38.30? Very reasonable to think gapping down there, not to be able to get back up above that sell setup on the hourly. And 37. Yeah, I get it, McGraw, the open interest there, but it does have an unfilled gap. So always looking for some support area to be aligned with these large open interest levels, which are always at the whole number. So we'll see, moving down to that unfilled gap in this little shelf of support. You want to be below that, absolutely. So coming down there to 3670, which has $1.15. And so if the markets begin to drop, we can go a little bit lower. But we'll see. Yeah. All right. So Q's just flip-flopping around here. Whipsaw yesterday. Weekly, just a mess. Several weeks of just flip-flopping back and forth. Buyers had all the opportunity in the world to take this market higher after the big green week back here on June 20th. And they couldn't do it. So buyers are going to show up aggressively after several weeks of trying to take it higher? I don't think so. So, but still within this range. And you see the Dow pushing down through here. JP Morgan earnings, I'm sure you all saw that. So it was interesting yesterday. One of the things we talked about in the green room, and it was like, here these, for the most part, things are going up. And what are the financials doing? Did somebody know? Most likely, yes. So that was, well, not, no financials, but the regional banks weren't moving up and the financials weren't moving up with everything else. That was kind of a fly in the ointment there. Now, this moving down like this, down below the low. I think it's got to go down here or lower. I don't think today, but look, we get another close below 30,000 going down here. I think the sentiment has to begin to shift, more bearishly than it is. But, coming down here, 28,000 or so, give or take. We'll see how things develop. Interesting. Look, Bitcoin is green here. Well, that's one little positive for the day. And a Russell holding here so far. We're just back and forth, back and forth. Just a very uncertain point in time for the markets, whereas clearly this is ultimate certainty, just water falling down. And here as it's going up, and just overlapping bars here, just, institutions just trying to figure it out, battling it out. Bitcoin holding here for the moment. Once that breaks, market starts to break, I think all hell breaks loose. Crude oil moving down. All right, so all these inflation numbers confirming what we all knew, but as they have to have the numbers to confirm what's obvious to those less complex. And we'll see if this holds, because look, I'm interested to see what these ETFs do here, because since the momentum is slowing down here as it came down in this bottoming tail bar. And so yesterday tried to hold, and I don't know if this is how accurate this is here, pre-market 66 and change, gapping down. So it'll be interesting to see if this gap down gets reversed in energy, since this is down so much and oil is down so much. And I said early in the week and yesterday, last week, I said, I don't know what these markets, how they're holding on here with this moving up like that, but that is a clear message that this is saying the Fed is going to have to step on the accelerator here. The market is forcing them to do it. They're going to have to do it. And inversion 210, others inversions. Now the look, recession is coming. Look, this is the 3-month versus the 30-year. And this is now getting close to the danger zone, right? Down here. And it hasn't been down there since, well, the last time was just before the pandemic hit. So this was saying something bad's coming even before anybody was saying coronavirus. So this has fallen a tremendous amount. The recession is coming, right? Whoever is arguing, maybe not, soft landing. I don't know where they got their head looking at, but that's bearish. And 5-year, we talked about this coming down here, a couple of weeks ago and starting to stabilize, and you can see the 10-year there. So there's nothing positive going on except for one-day wonders. And what else? Silver, it ain't going to go up. Inflation. It isn't going to go up. It's not. Gold is not going to go up with the short-term interest rates going up like that. Just not. And of course the dollar. These intermarket relationships are so valuable when you start thinking about general concepts. And does the intermarket analysis confirm that concept of gold is an inflation hedge? You see those commercials on TV, right? Yeah. Euro, is it at parity? It's closing in on that. Right, Dan, what are they telling all those people that have been buying gold over the last year with the inflation thing? And the brokers must be like, oh, here come the calls again. Let's turn the phones off. Yeah. All right. So look, transports can't be good. Be going lower. And as always, we just see what today brings. Right? Michael's our Fed futures starting to price in. Look, Michael, from my point of view, you could look at Fed futures and people what they look at to say what the Fed's going to doing. I just simply look at the 13-week Treasury bill, and that's going up like that. That is the markets just saying, look, Fed Chairman Powell, I got my foot on your neck. When are you going to give in? So you can look at Fed futures, whatever. Just follow this. That's all you need to do. To you, Dan.
But why does Fed care about this?
Well, the Fed has to look at what they do with their economic indicators, but the market is saying they're going to do it. So if you want something that's going to predict what the Fed is going to eventually do, I mean, the Fed, you can say they're an independent, they're going to do what they want, but the markets are controlling interest rates. People say, well, the Fed controls interest rates. Well, this has gone up. And I said this over a year ago. I said, keep an eye on this. It starts to break out. And you've got 3-month interest rates going from 0.5% or less up to almost 2.5%. So, whether they care or not, like I said, this is forcing their hand. There you go.
All right, good morning. We have pretty light inventory. I mentioned yesterday, if we took out the Q's high, then it should be a field day for more put spreads. But I said we got to get over this close over 288. And I said if we have a miraculous recovery, then it'll be a gap reversal. And we'll have a field day on put spreads. So we only have 3 of them open. We have Tesla for Friday, tomorrow. We have Amazon for next week. And we have Walmart we put on this Tuesday's breakout. So I guess our stop is under 122. So we still have another $2 for that. And we're pretty light in the advisory letter also. Let's just go to my things I have over here. Well, let's start with the elephant in the room, JP Morgan, 108.40. It was down more earlier, but I remember saying that's a bull sandwich on the monthly and at a price void. I think 100 would be a good stopping point. But gapping down a lot. I don't know what to do with that. Morgan Stanley holding better, but still bearish downtrend. Oxy, I saw another report. Buffett now 19.2% interest. He loves his company, but you got a bearish weekly monthly, so I see nothing to do there. And yeah, oil and the oil ETFs are weak here pre-market. Netflix, remember we saw this pop yesterday? And I'm like, what's going on with this? I read in the news today, which is always late, at least on the newspaper, it's late by definition. They said they teamed up with Microsoft about trying to do some lower cost ad stuff. but no pattern there for me. I see Google actually weak here pre-market. I would have been interested in this if it held right here and not retrace further, because that's a very meaty, bear sandwich right there with a price void. But now with today's gap down, it's more questionable, but still in a trading range. I just sent a text alert, gave you all a couple things here showing relative strength. So look, AMD, possible higher low here, nice gap reversal down here. Bottoming tail in this gap fill. That looks great. 30-minute high as a day trade. Also put spread, TSM, little 180 reversal, gapping up. That looks good. Costco I posted. Little buy set up here over yesterday's high, put spread. Frick had earnings, gapping up 155. We'll see what that does at the open, but since it's earnings, volatility's higher. And I love selling credit spreads on earnings stocks after earnings. This looks like the biotech disaster du jour. Look at this thing, $3 down to 59 cents. I mean, that's what happens with bios, particularly the ones that you call them a one-trick pony. They're putting their whole company into one product, and it's do or die. HMN, why am I looking at you? I don't know, it might have been earnings, but I don't see any gap. CAG had earnings, but when something does this into earnings, it just has a big old tear resistance. I don't care if this thing gapped up, down, or sideways. I just got a bearish bias. It's like sell the news. Now it's selling off a whole lot more than it was here at 35 and change. Let's see, CTOS, I think earnings, no pattern. We'll come back to you. And that's it on earnings front. A dash over yesterday's high as a put spread idea. TGTX, nice breakout yesterday. I forget who mentioned this in the green room, but or maybe somebody did in the MT live yesterday. Somebody asked about this, and I said, "Yeah, I love it." So look at that. It's opening flat to up in a weak market. So that I'm going to put on the list. TGTX kind of has a symbol that sounds like a bio. And yes, sir, it is bio. I don't know why it is. Just the symbols, they sound like bios. I don't know why that is. So SFM, little bottoming pattern. Yesterday's high. I'm going to set an alarm at 2720. That's kind of a, safety kind of stock, grocery store. We're actually in KHC as a safety kind of breakout trade. It's gapping down here. If it can get above yesterday's high, it's an add. Looking at my opens over here. Myrna, we took our money, took our profit on a call spread. I'm watching it to do another one. Home Depot, we did a call spread. Gave us a little indigestion yesterday, but now nice gap back down. Marriott, I have an alarm up here at 142. Varu, relative strength yesterday we were talking about. That looks great. That looks great. We were saying yesterday's low should not be taken out. That looks like a good 30-minute high. And this is kind of a little bull flag, which was yesterday's yesterday's conversation on MT Live, bottoming pattern 1, 2, 3. That looks good. I'm gonna set an alarm 498. Just, you know, the entry would be over $5, but I always set my alerts early. Hey, Robert. This is still a posted trade over whatever it is, over 23, I think. Let me make sure my alarm is still valid. Yeah, I got an alarm 2290. Kodak was something I saw yesterday, was perking his head. I'll watch that. DWAC, I'm watching to sell another put spread for next week. Let's let it pull back a little bit. I'll put this in a window. GME. GME is nice trading range. I'm riding. I'm watching for a while here for an entry. Herb, low alarm, just went off. But the stops yesterday's lows. I guess my early alarm went off. Yeah, the alarm's the stop 36:26. So I guess that early alarm. Now I'll set the real alarm. All right, Q's getting the 4 horsemen here, but I don't put much emphasis in the first 5 minutes. But bulls are, let's just